Hi, I'm going to talk to you today about provisional cast-ons. There's a couple of ways of doing it. One is simply to make a foundation chain with a crochet hook. Use a larger size needle, the size that's recommended for the provisional cast-ons, usually larger than the main knitting. Just makes life easier. So you're going to do a provisional chain. I'm doing it left-handed because that's how I crochet, but you don't have to, obviously. And when you've done that, you'll turn it over and use your needle to pick up in the back of each stitch. You can use the larger size needle or your regular size needle for this. And usually what I would do, so if I was doing this method, is I would make my foundation chain longer than the number of stitches I actually need, so I can just have a little tag at each end and know as well that I'm not going to run out of stitches. So there's my stitches picked up, and then I'm ready to start knitting with my regular yarn. So here's my 15 stitches that I've picked up from my foundation chain, and I'm going to knit into each one and continue knitting 10 rows. Remember, it's 15 stitches that we've got now, but when we come to pick them up it won't be 15, and I'll show you a couple of ways we can manage that, because we do want to have the same number of stitches top and bottom as we go round for the border. So I will see you when I've done my 10 rows. So I've knitted my 10 rows. This is the front of my work, and you can see the nice V's at the bottom of the crochet chain. The back looks a little bit different. You can see the knitted stitches showing through them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit along my 15 stitches. I'm going to pick up along the side 1 stitch for every other row. So I've done 10 rows, I'm going to pick up 5, and I'll show you what to do with this provisional cast on. When I pick up along the side, I'm going to pull my needle out and loop it round because it makes it easier. And then just 1 stitch into every edge knot. This one has the provisional cast on yarn, the waste yarn involved as well, so I just need to be careful only to include my main yarn there. So I've got my 5 stitches, and then I just pull that round. Okay, so I've got my edge, and it's going to undo from this end. You can do it the other way around so that you undo 1 stitch at a time, but I actually prefer this way because I can count my stitches, make sure I've got the right number, but it won't be 15, it's going to be 14. I'll explain why in a sec. So I undo that last edge, and then I've got a couple of extra stitches I did, and I just unzip it as I go. I'm going to use this end of my needle, or a spare needle I could use, to pick up the stitches as I expose them, so they're all safe on my needle, not going to come undone, any further like that. This one. And a little bit where it's split the yarn. This is why it's good to have a superwash yarn for your provisional cast on, so it doesn't get too tangled up with your main yarn. You don't want anything that's hairy or sheddy, especially if it's a different colour, it can stain the yarn. And then when we've got to the end, we'll find that the last bit is just wrapped around that edge of that first row churn. So I just pull that out, and there will be 14 stitches, I guarantee it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Now we cast on 15, didn't we? And we want 15. So what I'm going to do is in this first stitch, I'm just going to knit into the front and back to make an extra stitch, bringing the bottom up to 15 to match the top. Another way of doing it, getting the same stitches, stitch count top and bottom, is to actually cast on one extra with your provisional cast on, and in the second row knit 2 together. So you'd cast on, say, 16, and then go knit 1, knit 2 together, get to 15, do the rest of it at 15, and then when you pick up, you'll have 15 to pick up with, because it's one fewer than the cast on. Why does that work that way? Well, if we look really carefully at these stitches, can we see that these are our stitches we were working on at the beginning, and it's the loops in between that are forming the stitches that we've picked up. So say we had 5 stitches and our stitches form loops like this. When we've unzipped our provisional cast on, it's these loops at the bottom in between the main stitches that we're picking up, which is why it's one fewer. So if we've got 5 stitches, there's 4 spaces in between. If we had 4 stitches, there would be 3 spaces in between. So we have to counteract that difference. And you can see there's absolutely no evidence of any cast on. So it's going to be beautifully smooth, stretchy by the same amount top and bottom, and it will form a beautiful middle for our shawl. So that's how to undo and get going with a provisional cast on.